Kurt Bardella, Democratic strategist, LA Times contributor, and former House GOP Oversight Committee advisor, and Terry Holt, Republican strategist, former national spokesperson for the Bush-Cheney 2004 presidential campaign, and former senior advisor to Speaker John Boehner. Appreciate you both being with us. Kurt, I want to start with you. Trump appealing this Supreme Court decision in Colorado, expected to happen really at any moment. I got to tell you, I mean, I've even got, far left Democratic friends who are weirded out by these Supreme Courts blocking Trump, feeling like it's a bit of an overreach. I mean, what do you think, Kurt?
Well, I think on one hand, we've seen in the past the court play an outsized role in presidential elections, hence the 2000 election, which was in part decided, at least the voting and the stopping of voting was decided by the Supreme Court of the United States. On one hand, you have Republicans who say that when it comes to issues like abortion, states' rights, states should have that decision. Yet, in this case, states have made the decision, and now Republicans are out there saying, wow, we don't like how the states acted this way. This is overreach. So I don't think you can have it both ways. Ultimately, I'm a big believer that the best case scenario is always for the people to decide the outcomes of these types of things. I mean, we can have the constitutional debates all we want, and I guess that's intellectually interesting, and certainly precedent is going to be made by some of these decisions. But the best thing for democracy, the health of democracy, is for that decision to ultimately end up in the hands of voters.
Yeah, because couldn't it turn into a slippery slope, where, I mean, ultimately the people should be able to decide who they want and make the decision for themselves, it seems. Terry, Trump getting some big GOP endorsements. We just named them. Speaker Mike Johnson, Steve Scalise, Elise Stefanik. What do you make of the timing of these endorsements? I mean, we're less than 2 weeks from the Iowa caucuses, which I still can't wrap my brain around. But do you think the timing is key here, Terry?
I do think the timing is well thought out. It's a period of time where the House Republicans are still at home, but getting ready to come back for a fresh start in the year to do some big things. The House Republican Conference as a group, as a body, is very, very supportive of Donald Trump. So for Steve Scalise to go along with the other members of the conference is not a surprise. It is reflective of Donald Trump's strength in the House of Representatives, for sure.
Do you think, Terry, they really support him, like, in their heart? Or do you think that they're just seeing that the people support him so much, the poll numbers are so good that they're feeling like they have to do this right now?
Well, I'm sure that there are members out there who have some trepidation about supporting Donald Trump under the circumstances. He's got quite a lot of baggage. But you can't deny the political momentum, the fact that the other candidates in the presidential primary race haven't been able to break through. In fact, they're not even really running against Donald Trump. So you see that strength reflected in the sort of high-end endorsements that come at this time of year.
Yeah, makes sense. So there's these new Biden poll numbers that came out yesterday. Not good news for Biden, losing support from young voters, losing support from Hispanic voters, and losing support from Black voters, according to the newest poll. Kurt, what do you think the main reason is behind this?
Well, I think that we should all understand something that pretty much for the last year and probably for the rest of this year, the headline is always going to be Biden poll numbers are not great. That's just the reality. Nothing is going to change that, in my opinion, going forward. And that's why I kind of don't put as much stock in these things, because we've seen poll numbers for the president, approval ratings underwater. We've seen at times the economy numbers bad. Even though the economy is kind of rebounding right now. And yet, at the end of the day, when the election day comes, Democrats turn out. The issues like abortion have motivated Democrat turnout more than President Biden has been a drag on that. And that's why we've seen success for Democrats nationwide in some of these state races and some of the ballot initiatives in traditionally red states. We saw, obviously, the Kentucky governor's race where a Democrat was able to hold on to that. We saw in Virginia, Glenn Youngkin not able to get the majority in the Senate and the state houses that he wanted. So Biden's not going to poll well in 2024, just like he didn't poll well in 2023. I'm of the mindset that it doesn't really matter ultimately, that other issues are going to decide the outcome of the election.
And maybe the biggest issue is that Democrats just don't like Trump, because I've been wondering, I mean, for a while it felt like President Biden didn't want to say Trump. He didn't want to say the word. And he would come up with other things to say. Lately, he's been saying it. I've noticed, more people who are supporting him seem to be saying it. Are they just trying to, almost in a sense, get behind Trump because they know that they believe Biden can beat him?
Well, they know that Biden can beat him because he did beat him. He beat him in the 2020 election. And if the other side loses a race and then says, you know what, let's keep everything the same and let's run that back. If you won the last time, you're like, yeah, check ball. Let's try that
Yeah.
one more time.
Right, especially with these poll numbers. Yeah, what were you going to say, Terry?
I was going to say that ultimately this is a binary choice, and these voters right now signal that Joe Biden has quite a lot of work to do to shore up his base. The enthusiasm for Donald Trump in the Republican Party is far higher than the enthusiasm for Joe Biden among Democrats. They've got to address that so that they have the turnout numbers necessary to beat Trump on Election Day. It's going to be a binary choice, but it does mean that every single vote that Joe Biden got in 2020 that is available and there to vote for him again in 2024.
And just real quick, Terry, I'm curious, do you think we'll see any surprises in Iowa? Because Trump hasn't been there as much as the others, obviously. I mean, he's been tied up with his legal issues and other matters. You think there could be a surprise?
I think it will be a surprise if somebody is able to take some points away from Donald Trump in the process. Right now, polling between 50 and 60% of the vote. If he comes in with that sort of power, then the dynamic doesn't change, and we're still looking at Donald Trump versus the 2 or 3 that are left. What they really need to do is set up a predicate for New Hampshire being a real litmus test for Donald Trump's presidential strength going forward. Both Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis are trying to win Iowa and establish some foothold so that they can bounce. In New Hampshire, we'll just see if they get that. It's still Donald Trump's race to lose.
Yeah, it's a good point you make. I mean, it's not necessarily about beating Trump in Iowa, but if they can gain some points, the momentum, then for New Hampshire, it's probably what they're focused the most on. Kurt Bardella, Terry Holt, thank you both so much. We really appreciate you taking the time.